Good evening, Internet. You are watching the Non-Pro TV party, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Well, soon to be Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but currently Agent Carter recap show. I'm your host, Frank, joined not at all in studio by Matt, AJ, and James, in perhaps reverse order from what you see them on the screen. We're not really sure how it works. On Non-Pro's TV party, we do a live Google Plus Hangout series where we geek out about our favorite shows and invite you to join along. We're not just recapping TV, we are closing out a season of it. In Valediction, Carter and her team must face off against Leviathan before they unleash the true horror of Stark's terrible weapon. This is, of course, the very last episode of the Agent Carter miniseries. So we are sad to see you go, Carter. I think that's pretty accurate to say, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yes,
definitely.
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I've had my ups and downs with the series, sort of. Mostly ups, but I do wish we had more time with it. It was a lot of fun while we had it. But let's focus on the finale, shall we? The last few episodes, we really did figure out that the enemy was Leviathan, a Russian ops agency that is basically the Soviets' answer to S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra. And that their goal was to steal some of Stark's ridiculously built weapons of mass destruction to cause mass destruction, to basically cause a lot of problems for the Allies or the Americans or their enemies or whatever you want to call it. And actually, last episode we saw the little gas weapon. I think they had a name for it this episode. Does anyone remember what the name was?
Oh, I mean, Stark originally called it Midnight Oil.
Oh yeah, Midnight Oil was the name. You're correct. And we saw it being unleashed in a movie theater, causing people to kill each other, and perhaps even themselves. So pretty dark. What did you guys think about this episode, which was basically the finale, the wrap up of this plot line, the major plot line, which is who's been stealing Stark's toys, and the meta plot line of what is Agent Peggy Carter's role in this evolving world? Who wants to say something first?
I'll say something.
All right.
So I liked it. I think there were maybe a couple of things that I didn't like about it, and a couple of things that I could go either way on. I didn't necessarily think bad or like the first episode ties it back into Captain America, and I think that was good. I liked how they did that, but it was also interesting because I feel like we've come so far from those first two episodes, and I feel like I didn't need it to tie into Captain America quite the same way. So it was interesting, I think, in both ways like that. I also, and I don't want to go into too much detail, I guess, but I think the ending, the way it ended and the way Peggy is more or less okay with her role right now at the SSSR, that it maybe that she doesn't need or isn't seeking after this, like major like world respect for everything she's done, and is just okay with the peers and the people she cares about respecting her, is I think important. I think it's important, even though I'm not exactly so sure how I feel about it as a whole. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's fair, and I also am having a couple of those same issues. I'm sorry, somebody was about to say something. Go ahead.
I was gonna pretty much agree with James. Some ups and downs, I feel, and I feel like my main issue of this finale was it felt like a finale to a season, not a series, which maybe Marvel is confident, and that would be really awesome.
Yeah.
But as it is now, I was left wanting. But overall, I did enjoy it.
AJ, do you have anything you want to share?
Overall, I felt it was somewhat weak, and I felt it was a little slapped together for something they knew was going to end.
Yes.
Like then,
I agree.
I just they knew the series would end. They knew that from the beginning. You'd think it would feel a little less slapped together at the last minute when they had their full timeline spelled out from the get-go.
Yeah.
But there's some action, some cool stuff, some cool fight scenes, and all in all, I mean, it's TV, and it was okay TV. It wasn't bad, but I just
Yeah, we're having some, or maybe just I am having some technical problems. So if you hear like long moments of silence, it's because of the ennui. No, okay. So I feel like the episode was pretty fun. Parts of it were very fun, but the elephant in the room is that the entire thing seemed like a love letter to Captain America, which I don't know. I think Agent Carter had her own stance. I think they did a wonderful job in the first 2 episodes. Specifically, is the opening of the second episode with the radio play to sort of separate Carter from Captain. Carter from Rogers, and I feel like they, for whatever reason, felt like they needed to tie it back to this character, this superhero, and I found it disappointing. I did not need that many tearful goodbyes to Captain America for no other reason than he's not gone. Like, we're gonna get a movie with him soon, so we got a movie with him just last year. We're gonna get another one coming soon. Like, it doesn't feel genuine. Didn't feel like really heartfelt. It just felt like they needed to do it for whatever reason. But trying to concentrate on what was good about it is I actually did enjoy the fact, and this is going to sound weird, I liked the fact that Carter didn't really get any credit for what she did. So do you remember? So the way the episode basically wraps up, after they're fighting Leviathan and they're wrapping up, they're I guess the head of the SSR or senator or whoever comes in to congratulate Thompson, who's now in charge of the SSR, or that division anyways. I really don't quite know where in the timeline this happens before Carter becomes head of the agency, but whatever. We'll hand wave that off. So they come in and he compliments Thompson, and Thompson takes the credit. And she's sort of like, yeah, well, this is the world we're in. I can't change the world, but I'm proud of what I've done. And I like that, not because it doesn't suck. It certainly sucks, but it's not like it's they're not, reinventing actual history to fit into some sort of cartoony, happy, happily ever after ending. So I like the fact that things are so kind of grim for the equal rights movement at the end of this. I think that was pretty good, and I think that says more to the signature of Carter than that weird ending with Captain America.
I think it actually worked really well. I think that same ending really speaks to a lot of the characters in Agent Carter's finale. I think really the finale, if anything, was a great time for most of the secondary characters to shine. So, I mean, the way at least I think about the Marvel Universe, or the way it's kind of been pitched to me, Peggy comes from Captain America as a secondary character, and she shines all in this series. And then we have Jarvis, who's, a butler. That's a secondary character to Stark, per se, even though he might be the focus here. And his ability and willingness not only to step up and be the guy to maybe shoot down Stark, but also to take his own action and give Peggy Cap's blood at the end, speaks great. Sousa, I think, being the guy who's smart, and learning from his mistakes, putting the earbuds in his ears, and also being one of the people at the SSR who really had the focus and key success on the mission. Like, I think all of the secondary characters in this episode, I think, kind of are placed in that same spot, even though Peggy gets it like right off the bat. I think all of them are kind of placed in that spot where they're like, they don't get thanked for what they do, but that's okay. It's okay to be proud of what you did. You don't always need recognition for it.
I think those are great points, and I'm actually commenting on that on a thread that we do a thread every week about the upcoming show, and I think it's interesting, and it makes me feel a lot better about the series. So thank you, James. I feel better about the whole purpose of the series now that now you've put it in that light. But I think that's what's important about doing these hangouts, and or if you don't do your own hangout show, to have a water cooler moment with your friends afterwards, and sort of decompress and think about the thing you just watched. Is it gives you a new perspective on why it's good and why it's interesting.
Oh, I was also gonna say that Dottie got away too, which is cool because she's like the secondary villain as compared to like the main villain in the thing.
You just ruined it. What did you guys think of Dottie and her and or let's say the villains in general and how they were represented in our finale?
I will say I was a little disappointed. I felt like the Doctor, he was he seemed pretty cool. He seemed to have like a really neat dynamic to him, like where he was loyal to Leviathan, but like when they show in the flashback, he used actually his powers for good in the war to help victims to like ease their pain. And I was like, okay, I thought that'd be really neat for him to play out, but like in the end, he kind of turned into mustache twirling. I want my revenge against Howard Stark, which I mean, I guess is kind of justified when you like found out his story about like how he was also at that Battle of Finau and like he lost everything there.
Yeah.
But that was just kind of thrown in last minute and just kind of felt like, oh, by the way, motivation.
Right.
And not that, and kind of like the execution was kind of weakish.
Sloppy.
I felt. As for Dottie, like the idea of the character concept, I was really pissed that they actually killed her off, like during that fight. But so I was really happy that she escaped. But I was kind of disappointed with, like, I'll say it again, I feel like they ended it like it was a season finale, not a series finale. You really don't know what her issue, or what her deal is, and so she's gone. So, okay, so hopefully they'll get a second season and she'll be back. But if this is never picked up again, and if Dottie's never used, we just have villain that disappears.
Yeah.
Without it
make
being
her
fully
immortal.
fleshed out.
Right.
I'm gonna jump in here. I totally don't have this problem you guys have with kind of like this soft ending. Like maybe they will, maybe they won't, because we're absolutely gonna see these characters again. Even if Marvel's Agent Carter doesn't get picked up, and this is a larger thing as well. We're in a universe now. We know what happens to Peggy Carter. We know what happens to Jarvis. We can see, for example, Jarvis could be, the timeline fits, Jarvis could be in Ant-Man, like there's in flashbacks, we're in a larger universe, I guess, and not to say that this doesn't mean that the series should have not had such a soft ending, but I'm not as worried. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
It's all gonna work out, guys.
I don't think these characters, even if the series doesn't get picked up, are gone forever. Partially because we know half of where their histories take them. We know what historically happens to the SSSR, and we know what happens to Peggy, obviously. I'm not as bothered. I think even if, Dottie herself isn't in Agent Carter anymore, that doesn't necessarily mean we're not going to see more of her or the Black Widow project, or that sort of thing.
I have something to say that angrily shakes its fist at you, James, but I haven't heard anything from AJ in a while. So what did you it sounded like you were about to say something a little while ago.
Angry fist shaking. No. I do hope to see more of Dottie later. I'm glad that she's not dead. That's not. I mean, overall the episode felt weak, but it doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. And just because we see these characters elsewhere doesn't mean that they had to end this series so weakly. And I feel like if they ended it stronger, with a higher fan, like with better numbers, maybe they would have better chance for another season of it,
Right, yeah.
I don't know.
So, and to piggyback on what AJ is saying, and what Matt had said before, and to answer James, who's relentlessly optimistic about this, is I think some of the problems Matt had were addressed by what AJ had said earlier, which was that it felt like there was... that they didn't really know that they were going to run out of episodes. Like there was this, they just sort of ran out of steam. Like the reason why this feels like it's the end of of a season as opposed to an end of a series is because it's almost as if they didn't know that it was running out. There was something weird about what's going on. My issue is that Peggy Carter is a secondary character, is a supporting character in important but supporting character in the original Captain America movie, and part of this whole joy of being in the universe is that all these little characters can work together and be fleshed out eventually. And in fact, she did get a series, and it was a big deal. She got a headlining series where she could be fleshed out and worked on. But did she? Like, did they stick the landing? Same thing could be with Jarvis. Like, Jarvis is in a universe, right? He could be fleshed out in a different movie. But, like, why do we have to keep making new movies and new projects for them to work out? Why can't we just give good work on the ones we get? Like, instead of hoping that Jarvis or Peggy or Sousa or any of these characters will get well developed later on in the road, we're not getting it now. It seems as if they're teasing that ending that will eventually come, but you need to start giving us like really cool closure and or story arcs or what have you with these characters, or else being part of a universe doesn't matter if we're never going to have enough time to talk to any of the people in our universe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. I'm really back and forth on this. I don't know if I was like, oh, it's a good series, or if I'm thinking, oh, it was a very good series, but it certainly wasn't. Like, if this were near mint, I would not be giving it a near mint. I think I'd be giving it a good. Yeah, I think I'd have to give the show, this season, a series, whatever, a good, potentially a near mint. It was almost there. There's some episodes that were amazing, and some that were just felt like it was the Stark show. There was a lot of Stark in the last episode, and I didn't need to see that much of him.
Yeah, I think I probably fall pretty close to you on that overall. I feel like the episode, like, right before the finale, I was watching it, I was like, what? That can't be the end of the episode. Like, the momentum was great. And then I do have to agree. The ending was soft. I think some of the momentum was killed. And exactly, a lot of Stark, a lot of Captain America. It's not that it doesn't seem logical. Like, I can't fault it. Like, it makes sense that this would be one of Stark's great regrets. Like, it all adds up. It just, I don't know.
You give that kind of treatment to a series. To be blunt, you give it to a series. You give Diggle and Arrow his own episode, right? In like season 1 and 2 of Arrow. I haven't watched that much yet, but you don't give it in a mini-series where you have limited character time, like bringing Stark out so he could have some sort of closure. I mean, that's Tony Stark. Tony Stark had to deal with the fact that he was a weapons manufacturer, and then he had a change of heart, and he had movies to deal with it.
Or even if you do
episodes.
Even if you do, I've seen episodes, miniseries focus on singular characters and have it be great. It's just the last episode. That's the point here. I think that's the point.
Yeah, to bring out the last episode. Yeah. Well, I mean, do.
I have a question.
Yes.
Nope. Yeah. All right.
So, if we get a season 2, what does everybody want to see? That's my question.
I want to see Carter tackling a plot. A new plot has nothing to do with something else. And I want her to own all the majority of the story, like any main character would. The more I think about this, the more it upsets me. Because what did she do that was really that great at the end of this thing? Like, she did not do much. She kind of fought with Dottie. The other agents in the SSR did stuff. It really wasn't her show. It was almost like it was Agent Carter team as opposed to Agent Carter. I don't know. But yeah, I want to see her do something the way you would see Scully in an episode of X-Files, where she was one of the main characters of agency. That's what I want to see. How about you guys?
Go ahead, Matt.
I kind of want to see more of her relationship with the SSR now, because now that she pretty much has the respect of her peers, and kind of like I would say even Thompson, even though he kind of took the credit for everything, you saw him. He gave like a little look back towards Carter and Sousa when the senator asked him like, "Oh, like you're the guy I should thank, right?" And he was kind of hesitant about it. So I'd be interested to see like Carter
How
working
that
with
evolves.
his colleagues that respect her a lot, and it would be really cool to see them working together. And definitely see more want Carter to be obviously the focus, but I think there's more we can do with Thompson, Sousa, and the other side characters that we mentioned in this show to develop them a bit more.
AJ?
I do think it would be cool to see the same show without her fight to the top, and I'd like to see the Howling Commandos come in more because they're awesome and they need to be everywhere. Uh, but yeah, those two things, and but Dottie, I'd like her to come back completely different. Like I like the fact that she can just shed an identity and just take on a completely separate one. Like in this episode. In this series, she was taking on the white bread American wife sort of persona. I want to see her take over a French persona, an English persona, like just shed and move on.
Yeah, that would build her the crazy aspects of her opinion of her personality, but it also like she's not completely crazy because she wants to be an American, and there were a lot of people who wanted to be Americans.
Particularly around that time.
Yeah, especially at that point where she's being handcuffed to a bed and has to smuggle bread. I mean, there are a lot of interesting things they could do with that character.
I thought it was really interesting how she kept on using her Dottie voice and not her like regular voice when she was fighting Peggy.
Oh, that's awesome.
I thought that was actually kind of creepy and interesting. Like it kind of reinforces the idea that she wants to be in kind of like in Peggy's shoes, kind of, which is kind of like this weird, creepy obsessiveness, which could be to play off of.
I think for me, what I want to see, and you guys can agree or disagree with me on this.
Oh, thanks for the permission, James.
You can't disagree with me. So you guys can agree or disagree with me on this, but one of the things that I think I like about a lot of superhero television we have on television right now, and I don't want Peggy or the show Agent Carter to fall into this trap, is kind of the will they, won't they sort of thing. I think we know one of Peggy's biggest accomplishments is definitely founding S.H.I.E.L.D., and I know that the creators of the show have said that they think, like, well, when Agent Carter ends, that's when she goes out and finds S.H.I.E.L.D. But, my worry is not, and I guess it's not, we're not looking at like 10 seasons here, but the idea that, well, yeah, Clark Kent will be Superman at the end of Smallville. What's nice about superhero television right now is Arrow gets to be Arrow, Flash gets to be Flash.
Right.
The agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. get to be the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Don't hold off Peggy's biggest accomplishment, like the thing that she's, hugely famous for, just to try to build up weaker accomplishments. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, and I feel like that's I hate to keep going back to it, but it's another one of the issues I had with the show was like with the finale was the need to. Well, will people really connect with Agent Carter, the show, unless we bring up Captain America more? And Stark, that Iron Man guy, sells a lot of toys. Like, I don't think it was necessary. I don't know what their motivation was, but in a way, it kind of felt like that. Felt like they had to tie it into the real superheroes. And we don't need to do that. We don't have to tie it in. She has her own accomplishments. Give her that. Make the show about her thing. And I think that would be really cool. If we would ever get more, which we don't know if we will. So I think we should wrap this up with saying what you most look forward to in this next season.
There's one thing
we didn't talk. Yeah.
To bring up that my beautiful wife actually mentioned when we were watching the show. She did actually mention something that she thought was interesting. She says that she thinks the ending, particularly the Stark, the quote by Stark being that not Tony, Howard. The one good thing Howard was able to do was to help to bring about Captain America. So looking at it that context, anybody who might have watched this series looks at that relationship and then might see something like Captain America Civil War, where it's Stark v. Captain.
Mm-hmm.
There might be some added context there. I mean, it's not a great argument, but it's a good one.
I think Katie made a good argument. You crap on her at the very end of that. Like, yeah, it's good, but she's my wife. I mean, come on, guys, seriously. Very Thompson of you. Thompson. We thought you were going somewhere, and at the very end, you're like, nope.
She's right.
All right.
I think it adds context.
I think it does. Oh,
an upcoming.
And one more thing I want to say about the show is I want to say that the little teaser at the end, kind of cool. You know, we got what was it, Zola?
Yeah, pretty cool to see Zola again.
Yeah, nice. I'd like to see more from Faustius. We didn't even talk about the fact that Dr. Faustius was given a name.
Called it.
Yeah, you did. You definitely did. That's pretty cool. I mean, I guess the fact that this stuff could happen to comic book fans, and we're okay with it. Like, even if you're just casual fans, you're watching the show, you could call Arrow Green Arrow. We're not going to be angry about it. You could call these heroes by their names. You could have them in spandex. We're going to be cool.
The Flash gets to be the Flash in season 1. It only takes 6 episodes to get there.
There you go. All right, yeah, that's true. You got to give credit where it's due. So let's talk about. Let's wrap this up with things we're looking forward to on the return of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I want to know what happened to Raina.
I don't think we're going to get that right away.
No.
I don't know. They pretty much showed her a new look, like right on their promotional cover art.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. I'll post. I'll send you a link to it, and maybe we could share it. But yeah, like they're doing like the sort of like comic book variant covers, like they did for last year's, like for a few episodes, and they already released the first one. So I think we're going to be getting a lot. And from what I seen in the previews, Sky definitely dropped the I word like in the episode. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what comes with that.
Very nice. Cool. Anybody else?
That covers it.
What Matt said is what we're looking for.
What more could I want?
Inhumans. That's what we want.
Yeah, they are.
The I word.
Yes,
it definitely is.
Meant.
Oh my lord! All right. Well, there's a lot of stuff on the internet that I can't quite show when you search for Raina. So let's just leave it at that. But yeah, I am looking forward to some more Inhuman stuff. Really, I want to see like a glut of superheroes. It's weird, but I feel like that's kind of why we want S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, that's kind of the reason we wanted it originally. So I'm in favor of that. All right, so next week we will be doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff with hopefully eye patches, endless amounts of eye patches. Tune in, and if you enjoy our TV parties, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/nonproductive, and feel free to leave us comments here or on Google Plus or even on Facebook in our fan club group. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, and please keep supporting the arts, which this technically counts as. Yeah.